Okay, now for real. For real. This is like take 4, take 5. I just keep finding bugs. Okay, so today, I'm gonna start out nice and easy. Couple new events for the Antebellum pre-Civil War period, just to add a little bit more tension, because in my test games it's been pretty hard to get consciousness high enough to match basically where it is in vanilla, basically because HPM favors shifting ideology more so than just stacking on consciousness, which I think is a good idea, though I've changed that a bit around, so we're probably going to be running some high consciousness during the slavery debate. Might be an issue, might not. We're going to play it out, see how it goes. The Wanderer and the Clotilda were the last 2 slave ships known to land in the United States. Both were brought to trial. Nobody was ever charged. Yeah, it acts the same way as the Amistad does, in just polarizing people. Senator Foote drawing a pistol on the Senate floor. This is Foote. I know I should have him over here, but he's looking left, and there's... I guess I could have inverted it. Whatever. Also, I don't like this, and I kind of want to clean it up, but it's in the game now. It's too late. I'm just going to leave it. This dude pulled a pistol on this dude. Some people say this guy was charging this guy. Some people say that this guy just got pissed off at that guy. Who knows? Either way, it raises consciousness if you haven't passed the Compromise of 1850 yet. Now the presidential election events. So 1836 through 1860, every 4 years, we have a presidential election event that details a brief description of that particular election. The candidates, the 4 most popular candidates. I'm not doing more than 4 candidates. I can probably fit like 5 in here, but I don't want this to stretch on forever. 4 most popular candidates, and if you choose a candidate, their home state loses militancy. All pops in the United States shift 1% closer to their ideology. Pops in their home state shift 5% closer to their ideology. Seems small. It is small. There are plenty of events that have a stronger effect. If that individual had, like Lincoln or, you know, other abolitionist or sort of abolitionist candidates, people will become more in favor of outlaw slavery. You won't get the lashback so much. Like, I have Dixie Pops gain consciousness because I'm being lazy with it, that's why. And really, I was just fishing for a way to get consciousness. So 1860, we got, you know what, y'all can read. You can, if I upload, you can pause the video at any point and read the text on here. The reason I'm not reading this to you, as I often like to do, is this is again like take 4, and I've read through all these like 3 times at this point, and I'm dying, Squirtle. I'm dying. Essentially, what this does is it helps give you a little bit of control over what states have what ideology, what way they're leaning. That way, you can try and decide for yourself. Is it better to just boost liberal appeal overall, or do you want to try to appease people by going more conservative? And it matters because New York is a very populous state. So is Ohio. Tennessee, not so much. Massachusetts, decent amount of people. So you can politic a little bit. It's a cool system. I like it. This is all still to-do art. This is Victoria 2 vanilla art, and I wanna, I think, throw art of like the 2 main candidates for each election. Who knows? But yeah, these will fire automatically. And yeah. See how succinct we can do this? Less than 5 minutes. If I had read all of that to you, which I tried to do, in fairness, the last few times, we'd be here like 4 times as long. It's cool shit. I need to upload this newest version of the mod to GitHub. I've been putting that off because I want up through 1860 working properly. I want the Civil War to fire between 1856 and 1862. 1856 because you can get a Republican in office early. Oh my god, he's from California. I just closed it. Was it this one? No, dummy. It was this one. John C. Fremont, that's who. Fremont was staunchly abolitionist and probably would have led to a secession crisis similar to Lincoln. And of course, Lincoln did lead to the secessionist crisis. And at that point, the South was pretty hard set on seceding anyway. Really, the only question is, was the United States going to let it happen? Certain candidates were in favor of secession, others were trying to make them not secede, but even the moderate Unionist party that were like, no law but the Constitution. We're all just gonna sit here and things will be the same as they've always been. No, the South was gonna secede. At that point, it was kind of set in stone. And I'm not a historical determinist most of the time, but in the context of this game, I think it's an important thing to try and lock down to a more specific date than, like, it could happen anywhere between 1840 and never in vanilla and HPM, and I've been pretty irritated with how many test games I've run through the end of 1861 and no Civil War is fired off, so I'm trying to force it to happen. More or less when it happened, because there's a lot of things that don't make sense after the fact. Like the rise of socialism. Once socialism gets unlocked, and it's a little more contained now, but it still is wily, it grows too fucking quick. Too quickly. And at a certain point, liberalism grows too small, liberal ideology grows too small, socialism grows too big, and the firing conditions for the Civil War will never go off. I also made it that it could be 35% liberal or 35% socialist in the upper house could make the Civil War fire off. God help you if you're in a position where you have 30 to 40% socialists in the upper house and it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I'm rambling because I've been coding and I'm a little manic because this is attempt 4 or 5 recording. What's next? Like 2 more test games. 2 more fucking test games. I'm not doing one tonight, though I would like to. So maybe later this week, but I'm also getting burnt out on this a little bit. I want to do the test games to make sure Civil War feels right, that tensions are building up. For example, I changed the mean time to happen modifier on a lot of events so that after 1850 they fire more often, but prior to 1850 they're more rare, so it feels like a growing crisis, so it feels like it's growing out of control. The Burning Kansas event is much more likely to fire off more quickly. Will fire off much more quickly, and a few other events are no longer locked behind arbitrary constraints, but are instead set by date. So I'm trying to keep the momentum happening. I like the design philosophy, kind of what they went with in Victoria 2 with the United States, and trying to give you the possibility to avoid the Civil War. But I don't think it was completely avoidable. The slavery debate, their arguments, and you'll find plenty of them online, that, well, the South could have eventually started peacefully transitioning out of slavery due to increases in productive technologies and industrialization, just like it had happened in the North, or the decrease of value of cotton, that, you know, we could have reformed our way out of it using economics. And those are some neat takes, but the secession issue had been an issue since the 1830s, with South Carolina particularly, and other southern states, with response to state versus federal authority, states' rights versus federal law. And that larger question was also at the heart here. Yeah, it was about slavery, in that the South didn't want to give up slavery. but more so for the South, it was about we don't want to be told what to do. And even for the North, the Civil War was mostly about the South not having the right to secede. Like, the Civil War is painted in the modern day as being this glorious struggle for the rights and dignity of our fellow man, righting an ancient wrong, centuries of human abuse. But the truth is, abolitionists, even Lincoln, had no intention of taking away states that currently had slavery codified. No intention of saying that they couldn't have slaves. He was on the record as saying he had no intention of stripping away the right to own slaves in states, but instead to restrict it in federal authorities. Even abolitionists at the time were like, whoa, we're not saying stop. We're just saying more states can't do it. But the South was afraid that more states, not being slave states, would turn the Senate against them and eventually take away their right to own slaves. It's like, there were no good guys. There really were no good guys. John Brown, good guy. Good fucking guy. People like Harriet Tubman and John Brown doing direct action, being very proactive about abolition. Good people. Good people. Republicans at that time, cowards. Fucking cowards. And there were exceptions, but Lincoln's whole, like, ooh, please don't leave. We don't have to get rid of slavery in your states. We can compromise. Fuck that. What? No. But, I mean, so is true of liberals today. Oh, we can compromise with the other side. Meet in the middle. Meet in the middle. Meet in the middle. Meet in the middle, and you just keep walking. Just keep goose-stepping off to the right. Yeah, so that's why I kind of disagree with the design philosophy. It was a multifaceted point of tension, and those tension points would not just disappear overnight. They wouldn't just go away if you just, like in Vanilla Victoria 2, just went through the storm and kept consciousness low. That ain't gonna do it. In HPM, he has the mod author has the free states of America break off and declare war on the United States if you take too long to abolish slavery, which wasn't gonna happen. There was a notion that New York City should secede at a certain point, but not the entirety of New England or the North, because the North was in favor of federal authority. They weren't about to abandon this federal structure. They just wanted other people to adhere to federal law who were refusing to adhere to federal law. So I've cut that. I've cut that entirely. I think it's dumb and fanciful. This whole freedom of the womb law, this is coded out of the United States now, basically. I mean, you can't outlaw any of these. You can't enact either of these because I have the slavery debate hit so quickly. Freedom of the womb it doesn't work. It doesn't. Yeah, slave population stops growing. To kind of reflect, I don't know, that, newborns aren't enslaved, but really it should slowly decrease over time and they should convert to other things. It's just, no one was advocating for freedom of the womb laws, nationally in the United States. That was an edge case in weird cases. I mean, the way the Victoria II represents slavery is kind of weird. It wasn't until 1841 that the last indentured servant, slave, in New York was set free. Lifelong indentured servant would not be set free until 1841. I don't know their name, I just know that that's the year that it happened. And, you know, several other states, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, still had slaves, even though they say that they don't. So, like, I have Afro-Americans down here in Olney, Illinois. These were actually enslaved people? Is that true? It's, God, one of these fucking... It's one of these two that actually had slaves at the time. Because, again, there was no federal law banning it. Most state laws that were transitioning or outlawed slavery gave timelines for people to free their slaves or have buyback programs or whatever else. Which is why there's the argument of like, oh, that could have worked in the South. But nothing, and I mean nothing, would have gotten South Carolina to adhere to federal law short of a war. South Carolina had been bristling against federal authority since the Jackson administration, since like the prior 4 years of this game, like 8 years, really. The states' rights versus federal law issue. The South wasn't just gonna back down at any point. So either the North would have to back down for a peaceful resolution and accept that, yeah, every state can do what we want, we're basically a confederation, or federal authority had to be enforced, and through police action or outright civil war. So yeah. Anyway, I've rambled on. Remember at the 5-minute mark where I'm like, look at how quickly I did this. I could talk for 4 times this long. Well, don't worry, we're up to 15 minutes. I've done it. What's to follow? Test games. Once those are done and it's feeling like the Civil War is working, we're gonna go back to the year-by-year events or decade-by-decade events. I will pop in presidential events every 4 years. So that's the kind of video and update structure I'm expecting. We'll do, 1860s, then 1870s, 1880s, 1890s, 1900s, 1910s, 1920s, 1930s, and we'll be done with the event section. Then God knows what I'll work on at that point, but at least I have a roadmap right now. Timeline? You're not paying me, so I'm not beholden to you. But if you do want to pay me, it's like $20 an hour, and it honestly, I don't think it's worth it. This is a passion project, let it be that. So until later this week, hopefully, like tomorrow, hopefully I'm gonna say toodaloo. Take care. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.